All right, so just real quickly, I wanted to do another video. I talked about this particular EQ before. This is right below my Harman Kardon TD262 and right above my Mint Harman Kardon Twin Power HK930 receiver. This is probably one of the best 10-band EQs you're going to get, and strangely enough, it was the only one that this receiver would tolerate. This is the HK EQ8, and it was made, I think, in the mid to late 80s. Has that silver type face and all of that. What I like about this is that it has a noise floor, I'd mentioned this before in a previous video, of 105 dB. And what that means, practically speaking, is that it adds really no noise of itself to the amplifier. And when you hook this thing up, you want to hook it, if not in the tape loop, you want to hook it in between the amplifier and the preamp. And of course the HK and many of the older amps, you can actually disconnect the preamp from the power amp, and then you can wire up the EQ in between them. But this was designed not to add any of its own lack of performance to any of the amps that it was plugged into. That's kind of a funny way that I put it, but again, a noise floor of 105 dB. Most EQs out there even today have a noise floor of maybe 80, 85 dB. With real sensitive amplifiers, you're going to pick some of that up. This, however, is completely quiet. Frequency response, flat and all of that, of this unit is about 5 to 140,000 hertz. So again, it doesn't take anything away from your amplifier. And it's very tastefully laid out. I can show you some of the controls here. You can see the defeat, tone defeat, equalizer on, and then of course record. You can have this just tweak recordings you're making, tape monitor, and then of course input levels. The other things I like about this is each channel has its own subsonic filter, and you can turn it on or off, and then you can adjust the frequency that it kills. So, 30 hertz all the way down to 5 hertz. It'll eliminate those frequencies depending on where you have this thing adjusted. Other than that, the EQ is very tastefully laid out, you can tell, and it has the frequency of 250 hertz mapped out very easily there, so you can bump that down. That's generally the frequency you want to deal with most if you want good, tight bass, a lot of boominess in that area. So anyway, just a really simple, well laid out EQ that is also extremely high performance. So that's the HK EQ8. You can get these on eBay. They're not cheap. I think I paid $200 for this. Probably some of you would say, well, you overpaid for it. This thing didn't really have anything wrong with it, just some dirty pots on it, and I cleaned all those up. The inside was pristine. But again, another excellent EQ. So if you're interested, check out my other YouTube channel, A Father's Devotions, and I have a link for that on this site. This is Steve with My Audio Stuff.